To be honest, I'm Giannis inside of game 6. Dropping 50 and dunking over your main. Earnhardt Jr. when I'm deciding the lane switch. Tell them people that I'm on top of the game. Manifested my future by spewing all of my pain. Carry my own umbrella, surviving treacherous rain. Landed on higher learner, matriculating the bigger earners. Switch after dark helps you to find your purpose. And find what work is, and find the surface. When deeper in it, I'm heavy with ashes, burning curses. Built up our name so forever we reign, it's us we working. Ain't tripping off your affiliation, we welcome verses. In lieu of playing, we saying our way to sign a merchant. Then press receipts in the meet and greets with our favorite person. Link with DG, he the T for KC, we do it right. Switch after dark from the mic to your heart to Hollywood.
Who do you take care of first? Who's the first order of business? Let's think about these past 8 seasons. Let's think about the future. Let's try to come to this decision as a collective. Actually, I'm the head joint in charge, so y'all got to convince me as to why I need to open up my purse and which one I need to open up my purse for.
All right, so before we start, right, like before we say, I'm gonna put this out there. So, that's Stephen Jones. Yeah, okay. That's me.
Yes, son.
Yes, son. All right, so look, CD is going into year 5. We already franchise tagged him. Dak, we gotta extend him if we want to keep him. So if we're going to do that, we can go to the table with Micah, but if push comes to shove, we do have that 5th-year option that we can pick up. He was a first-round draft pick. The 5th-year option for him would be about $21 million. Then if we're looking at that, Nick Bosa right now is making $34 million a year. So he wouldn't be breaking the bank like we expect him to, right? If we take care of that 5th-year option, so we can kind of push contract extension talks a little down the road, or we could activate the 5th-year option to keep him from testing free agency.
Okay, so me being the head coach, CD's definitely on a franchise tag already. That is true. We could activate that 5th-year option for Micah and have to worry about him next year.
And actually, no, CD's on the 5th-year option too.
Oh, he's on the 5th-year option
because he was a first-round pick. Yeah,
him next year.
Yeah, we could franchise tag him next year.
And then Micah, we could activate his 5th-year option next year.
Yep.
Okay, so in hindsight, we could technically have CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons on the team next year. Now, here's the thing.
Are we going to have a quarterback, fellas?
That's what I was saying. Now, here's where it gets sticky at. Because you can say, okay, we'll have Lamb and we'll have Micah next year. But if we get this man $60 million, one of them two not coming back. We ain't going to be able to take care of all 3 of them.
It depends on contract structure, I'll say. Because even with that, so like let's say we do give Dak $60 million. That first year, we can kind of structure the contract to be like a low hit because CD's 5th-year option for this year, he's making about $17 million. If we franchise tag him next year, it'll, that price will go up. It'll be somewhere in the 20s, maybe mid to high 20s. Micah on his 5th-year option to make $21 million. So that's about $46 to $50 million tied up in those 2 players. So we can structure Dak's contract if we decide to keep him to maybe be able to keep all 3 for that year. And then when we structure CD's and Micah's contract, that's when Dak's contract really, starts to pick up. And, we can try to move some money around to make it work.
Okay. So
let me ask you fellas this.
Right.
I'm getting old. Every day could be my last day.
Kick the bucket already, nigga.
I'm sorry. What was that, son? What was that, son? Do I need to take out of your allowance?
I had to cough. It was a little cough.
All right, son. All right.
Once again, I'm just here so I don't get fired.
Not in front of company, son. Now, I'm old. Any day could be my last day. Sell me on Dak Prescott. Sell me on why any of this should matter. Sell me on Dak Prescott. Everything is just
to sell you on Dak Prescott.
Steven. That's why people don't like you in the organization, Steven, because everything is a joke to you. Sell me on Dak.
Okay. if we're looking at realistically, if we let Dak go and we're trying to compete, there's not too many options out there for us to compete at. You know what I mean? You can find a quarterback in the draft. But honestly, if they're not a for sure shot in the first round, then any round after that, you're trying to find lightning in the bottle. The reason why Dak is going to get paid the way he's getting paid is because he knows that you can't find another him on the street. And if you was to let him go to somebody else that is like a quarterback away, he'll make them a contender. And if we are trying to compete for Super Bowls, the most important position you got to have is the quarterback position. I know another team that's in the NFC West that had an elite defensive lineman, an elite receiver, but their quarterback was shaky. And that quarterback cost them an NFC Championship game, and it cost them a Super Bowl game.
Is that raggedy team out in the Bay Area that you're talking about? Our nemesis?
Yeah, well, this is disgusting. We don't like them. We don't like them.
Yeah. We can't stand them, Mike. We can't stand them.
Looking at what those teams have done, we need a quarterback, and you gotta have your horse. Dak brings a lot to the table. We can't compete without him. So that's my realization of it. I mean, we'll be resetting the clock.
I'll say this.
So my thing is with Dak. So we're a good team. You know, we've been your handshaking is insane. Anyway, we're a good team, right? So we're a good team. We're always, we're picking somewhere in the mid 20s. We're never in the 30s, but we're picking somewhere in the mid 20s every year. You don't necessarily find a quarterback in the fourth round to produce like Dak or Russell Wilson or some of these other quarterbacks that have come out in the fourth round. Like, it's like you catching lightning in a bottle at that point. Dak has been a solid quarterback for us. And if we're picking in the 20s, you don't really see too many good quarterbacks fall down that far. So we don't want to end up like the Colts where we're picking, 15 through 25. And
we don't want to be like the Colts. Those sorry son of a guns over there.
I mean, yes, they've seen a Super Bowl in the last 30 years, but we don't want to be like them and keep getting these quarterbacks.
Now watch it, son. Watch your tone, son. Watch your tone.
We don't want to be like them and having these quarterbacks over and over again. They was picking new quarterbacks every year for the past like 6 or 7 years until they got Anthony Richardson over there. So we gotta figure something out with Dak. Now I will say this. Now last year, Dak led the league in touchdowns. He was second in completion percentage. He was like third in yards, while also throwing the 16th most interceptions in the league. He only had 9 interceptions. He was ranked 16th. He's middle of the pack throwing interceptions, which is great. And he led the league in completions. I mean, I don't know what more you can ask for your quarterback. He had the second best quarterback rating behind that quarterback over there in San Francisco, Brock Purdy. He did what he needed. He did what we asked him to do. Now, did he fall short a little bit, against Green Bay? Yes. But I don't know if we can replace that production.
I was asked to ask the coach, what about Trey Lance?
Now
I love me some Trey Lance. I decided to trade for him. You remember that call, Steven? I said, get us Trey Lance. We love that fella. We love someone who can be as mobile as he can. We love someone who can come in and shake the room. Now, if I don't open my pocket to Dak Prescott, we do have Trey Lance as an option. Is he an option enough to let Dak Prescott walk out of the door? Or, hear me out, fellas. Hear me out.
Arlington Trey.
I do absolutely love me some neon Deion Sanders. and he has a youngster coming out in Shador Sanders. And a lot of people, you guys watch this social media stuff and watch these crazy shows. Should I consider Shador Sanders at some point?
Well, with Trey Lance, will we feel safe giving the keys to him? I would say no. To be honest with you, Trey Lance couldn't outcompete a quarterback that was drafted in the 7th round. He let a quarterback out that was in the 7th round have an opportunity and took advantage of his opportunity, and now he is the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. So it's showing you that Trey Lance is still an unknown. And when you're trying to compete and your goal is to win Super Bowls, I don't think you could just say, all right, like Steven said, a quarterback that's already been proven. You just can't find lightning in a bottle. And plus, we only traded Trey Lance for a 4th-round pick. So I don't think that we could just get a reins to him, because that's like giving a reins to Cooper Rush. And even though Cooper Rush has proven more than Trey Lance has, but we wouldn't give the reins to Cooper Rush to lead us to where we're trying to go. So if honestly, no, I would have to pay Dak Prescott.
Now, who's that team that consistently beats us in the playoffs? In the regular season, are they up there in Green Bay or something like that? What's that team that can? Oh, Mike, your old team, Mike. Yeah. You had a quarterback there by the name of Aaron Rodgers, and he was there, and he had a guy sitting behind him by the name of Jordan Love. And now, when Jordan Love came into the league, we didn't know what he was going to be. He was kind of bad. When he first came, he sat a few years. And we saw the growth last year when he came to Dallas. What they call it Lambeau South, right? He came to Dallas and dog walked us.
Hey. That's our playpen that you're talking about here, son.
It's not our house though. We just pay the bills.
Yeah, we just pay the rent here.
We just pay the rent.
And they dog walked us, and they dog walked us. Could we see something like that?
Finish the whole bottle. You reminded me of that, Steve.
Could we drink the whole bottle? Could we do something like that with Trey Lance? Let him sit behind Dak for 2 years, and then because he sat behind him last year, and if we decide to let Dak walk, then we can go ahead and see what Trey Lance has, and if it's nothing, then we'll be picking high in the draft, and maybe we can get our quarterback there. I hear Arch Manning is maybe coming out in a couple years. We can get one of those.
He loves some Cowboys football now.
We can get one of those Mannings in here.
Jerry loves him some Arch. I'm Jerry. He loves him some Arch. Okay, and I would be willing to break the bank for Arch to have a Manning in the building.
And maybe we can capture that thunder that the Manning family has, and we bring a Super Bowl to Dallas or
Hollywood. This organization makes me drink my pain away.
Hollywood. Who's that Hollywood fella in the comments? We love mediocrity here.
This organization makes me drink my pain away. So
this is what we live for. We live.
There's
for
a great analysis, Steven, that we could have Dak for 2 years and let Trey Lance sit. And you are correct. It could be that he could learn from Dak, and there could be something great that comes out of it. And if it doesn't work, Archie Manning is not a bad plan B. Not a bad plan B at all. But
Hollywood is crazy.
Do you want to roll the dice on that? Do we want to roll the dice and extend?
Y'all
is killing me in the comments right now. You and Jerry. Y'all two, because at the end of the day, I'm the head coach. Y'all two, the last two decisions come up to y'all.
Well, I got a question for you. Why'd you lie about watching all our games before you came here? How about that? Now you got to answer some questions there, bucko. You lied in the press conference when me and my son was introducing you, and you told us that you lied on your application, bucko. So you are here to do more than just not get fired, because I tell you this much, you are on the hot seat, fella. Because that Zimmerman fella could be taking your spot, Mike. So you need to make the right decision here when it comes to Dak, CD, or Micah. And you guys are selling me on a pretty good deal on Dak. I'm going to be honest. There isn't Much more. Listen, here's the thing about Dak Prescott. Okay, he's a winner. He's a winner. I know we don't want to believe he's your favorite athlete's favorite athlete. Okay. All of your favorites absolutely love him. Those watching, those are in the comments. Y'all absolutely love Dak Prescott. Okay. He's big build, kept his interceptions low last year, leading in all kind of statistical categories. This guy he's a dad now. We don't know what kind of dad powers he may have now that he's had a child. I am willing to break the bank for Dak Prescott, but we have got to win a championship in the next 2 years. And if I do that, do you two see us getting over the hump?
I have a question.
Next 2 seasons?
I have a question for the owner. Yeah, we talking about breaking the bank. Excuse me,
questioning
Mr.
me?
Jerry Jones. We had a chance to get DeAndre Hopkins. You didn't want to pay no money for him. We had a chance to get Derrick Henry. You didn't want to pay no money for him.
You said not here, not around my niggas.
You're not around my watch. You said that we can win with the guys that we got in the locker room, knowing that these guys weren't enough. So as me as the coach, help me help you. You got all the money, but you acting like you want to use food stamps to get high-end players.
You and Steven told me we love our guys.
Jerry don't know what
told
food
me
stamps
that
are.
in the locker room. You told the locker room that. You told me that. You tell the media that we love our guys. Now my hand's a little shaky. It don't write checks the way it used to. Okay, it is no longer. I just want a championship before the good Lord calls me home.
Can't you watch it from heaven?
Hell no.
You might have to watch that from yonder.
Listen, we all have made mistakes in this organization. Yes, we could have went and got DeAndre Hopkins. Hell, Derrick Henry wanted us, but that's bullish. We love us some Ezekiel Elliott, and that's who we decided to get. Steven decided to go out here and bring Zeke back home because we know that it's more about putting butts in the seats and winning games. But we're going to change all of that.
When are we changing it?
We're changing it this year.
So are we signing Dak?
I just don't know. We're going to talk about it next month.